All right. All right. Welcome to Tommy Knows Best Sports Podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about the Celtics, Tom Brady, and I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl. But anyways, we're going to start out with the Celtics. They got a big game tonight at home against the 76ers, and they're going to be with some key guys in the lineup. They're going to be out with some key guys in the lineup. Marcus Smart still with his ankle. Jaylen Brown's questionable, non-COVID illness. And that's basically it. And tonight's a big game for them. Got to play good. They did a good job a couple nights ago beating Detroit 111-99. Jason Tatum had a big game. Rob Williams had a big game. Malcolm Brogdon had a big game. Sam Hauser, they all had a big game. And this team got to keep playing good, like I've been saying in every podcast. And the trade deadline's tomorrow. And I want to know, what moves would you like to see the Celtics get or do? Because there was a big talk a couple days ago about Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. That talk started happening again because Kyrie Irving requested the trade and he got what he wanted. So everyone's saying what's going to happen to Kevin Durant. And I don't know. The Celtics were trying to make some phone calls again with him, trying to play around with that story again. But I don't want Kevin Durant here, like I said a couple days ago on the podcast, because he's 34, going to be 35 this year, and I don't want him on the team. I'd rather have a young player, a young all-team player, and that's Jaylen Brown. He's a younger player, young NBA player of all time. And you don't want to break up this chemistry because you don't want to break up the two J's. You don't want to break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You don't want to do that. Those two all season have been combined in, and they've been scoring 30 points a game, both of those two combined, and they're getting 100 points, over 100 points together. And you don't want to break up that chemistry with those two. And these are the superstars of the team. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and you also get Robert Williams, another one that's been playing good since he came back from his injury. And they just got to keep these guys on minute restrictions still a little bit. Some of these guys are a little banked up and still coming back from injuries. Jason Tatum playing with a little wrist injury, but he said he's going to get the surgery during the off season, so it won't interfere during the regular season. And this team is built to go to the NBA Finals this year. They went there last year, but they lost to Golden State Warriors in Game 6. Everyone knew about that movie script, how that ended. Yeah, it was like a movie. It was like an ongoing movie that was never ending. And I want to know what you guys all think about that NBA Finals, because the Golden State Warriors were bullying the Celtics. Like, they were bullying them, like making them their brothers, bullying them. It was just a bad championship last year. And I wish the Celtics won. They were a game away to win the next game. And no, Jason Tatum didn't show up, and I don't know what happened. He was dealing with that wrist injury, like I was saying, and he needs to get that surgery after the season. Don't let the wrist be a big problem, and don't disappear in the playoffs after the NBA All-Star game, because some of these guys that make the NBA All-Star game, they tend to have a bad second half of the season. I don't want that from my team at all, because I want to see these teams doing good. The Bruins and the Celtics are the teams to talk about. They're the hot teams, best teams in their leagues. And I like how they're playing, both teams. I like how the Bruins are playing too. And I like how the Celtics are playing. Don't want to break up chemistry. But with the trade deadline coming tomorrow with the NBA, I was hearing through sources, maybe Grant Williams is on the move, or Peyton Pritchard wants a trade. So we'll see what happens with one of those two guys. But anyways, I'm going to jump into my next topic, and it's about Tom Brady. A couple nights ago, Bill Belichick was on his podcast, the Let's Go podcast, and they were talking about their days in New England, and it seems like everything's good. And I like that everything's good. But here's the thing. I don't care about that one-day contract thing. It doesn't bother me. It won't hurt me if he doesn't do it. But they should have a ceremony, retire his number 12 when no one doesn't wear it anymore in the league, and then build that statue of him where the light tower house is, and the light statue got to say LFG. That's what he got to say right on that, his phrase, LFG. Brady the GOAT. And Kraft said he wants to get this one-day contract going with him. That's what Kraft was saying yesterday, and I want to know what you guys all think about that, about the one-day contract and about Brady and Belichick on the Let's Go podcast. You guys must listen to that because I was listening to it, and they were like I said, they were talking about their days in New England, how it came to an end and how it was good. They had their moments, they had their bad times, and that's all right. But anyways, I'm going to jump into my next topic, and I want to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit because the Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday. Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I like the Eagles big time. And this is why, because Jalen Hurts is a beast. He's physical and tough, and I like that from him. He's a legit player, and he can win MVP too. He's in the MVP voting, and I think the MVP voting is the night before the Super Bowl. So this Saturday is the MVP voting of quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. So let's see who gets all these MVPs. And I would like the Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a tough game for Mahomes, and the pressure and the light is all on Mahomes now that Brady's retired and he's no longer playing, and he would have been here if the Patriots if they still kept him. It would have been Brady and the Patriots still, but it's okay. It's okay. But anyways, I want to know what you guys all think about the Super Bowl. How you think Mahomes is going to play? How do you think Hurts is going to play? How do you think the Eagles are going to stop Mahomes from running? How are they going to stop Travis Kelce? This Super Bowl should be the Andy Reid and the Kelce brothers Super Bowl. That's what it should be named. The Andy Reid Super Bowl and the Kelce brothers Super Bowl. That's what it should be named. Because the Kelce brothers are going against each other. And that's going to be a good game. I can't wait. Like I said, I'm going with the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. I want to see that offense tear up that KC defense because Kansas City's defense tends to give up a lot of points, and they tend to give up, and they let teams back in the games. They did it to Jacksonville, and they almost – who the hell did they almost lost? Yeah, they almost lost to Jacksonville. They were trying to keep Jacksonville in the game, and they almost lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, but they were getting help with the refs. That was a bad officiating in the championship game. I wish it was the Bengals and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Who dat? Yeah, but I want to talk about the Bruins a little bit. I forgot to throw them in here because I want to touch on a few things. I want to know the situation about David Pasternak's contract. What do you guys all think he wants to get? Because they got to get that figured out. I think they're trying to get that figured out. And I like how they gave Pavel Zacha a 4-year extension. I like that. And what do you think the Bruins need to do at the trade deadline on March 3rd and a few weeks away? I want to know what you guys all think. I say to get another defenseman and maybe Patrick Kane if he's still on the boards for them. I want to see the Bruins do a big blockbuster trade. I want to see them do something like that, a big blockbuster trade. But who would you give up? I don't want to give up Fabian Lazelle. I don't want to ever give him up. Don't want to lose him down in the minors, in a minor system, in our farm system, whatever you want to call it. You don't want to lose him. You gotta, I don't know, who would you want to trade on the Bruins right now? Drop into some comments. Everyone's saying they should trade Brandon Carlo and Matt Grzelcyk, but I don't know. Everyone's saying maybe you should trade Brandon Carlo because everyone knows his history when it comes to injuries and the playoffs. And same thing with Grzelcyk, but Grzelcyk's been wrapping up points. And same thing with Brandon Carlo. The defensemen, I think, they're all right, but maybe you should make a move still. Get another tough, physical guy that will put someone's head through the boards and get tough and physical during the playoffs. That's what they need. And I think this team is physical. They have AJ Greer. They have Nick Foligno, Trent Frederick. They got Matt Grzelcyk that could still get a little rough. They got all these guys that can still fight. Forbit. They still have tough and physical on that team, but they need to still get more tough and physical for the playoffs. So they don't let all these other teams bullying them around and just playing with them, Please drop into some comments. I'll answer them. But anyways, I'm going to end this podcast. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys with another podcast at the end of this week on Friday. And I'll do my Super Bowl picks. Like I said, I like the Eagles, and I'm going to do my pick. And here's the score, actually. Actually, no, I'll save that score on Friday when I do my podcast. Let's go, Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. The Celtics, big game. Bruins come back on Saturday for their second half of the season, and I can't wait to see what happens. Let's go.